This is WWE superstar Drew McIntyre, and you're listening to the WWE Podcast.
The champ is
the one that everybody wants, me.
Becky Lynch is going to WrestleMania. Claymore!
Austin 316 says I just whipped your ass. This is my iron. You're going to acknowledge me.
Welcome everybody to the Monday Night Raw review. Big Monday Night Raw after Money in the Bank. Now we are full steam ahead into Night of Champions in Saudi Arabia. Already a massive match set up with CM Punk versus John Cena coming to you in just a few weeks as the PLE train continues to keep moving. I mean, there's not going to be more than 3 weeks between PLEs from now through probably the end of August. So if you like PLEs, well, you're going to have 7 more of them between now and the end of August. I don't even think I'm kidding about that if you include Saturday Night Main Event and some NXT events. So we've got a lot on the table. Some other big revelations coming out of last night with Gunther reclaiming his World Heavyweight Championship from Jey Uso. A massive shift, a somewhat shocking shift by WWE last night with Gunther winning the World Championship for a second time. We also heard from R-Truth, who now I guess is going to go by his real name, Ron Killings. So I'll give you my thoughts on that. But first, I want to welcome you to the show. If you haven't joined us before, this is the unofficial WWE podcast, and we come to you several times a week, about 5 times a week, depends on the week, but usually about 5 is the number between NXT reviews and SmackDown and Raw and the Weekend Review and the After Dark show. So if you like wrestling content, good place to come to it is right here. And you can go ad-free at patreon.com/WWE podcast or go to Apple and subscribe there and go ad-free. So let's talk about it. I'm going to talk about Gunther first. All right. Gunther seems to be blowing up the internet. I put out a tweet and asked just the world. I said, hey, what do you guys think about, what do you think about Gunther reclaiming the World Championship? And it seemed more overwhelming than not negative for Gunther reclaiming the championship. And that's somewhat surprising, but Jay is a beloved character. There's a lot of people that have enjoyed his run thus far. He has been, quote unquote, over. But from what I understand, there are reports coming out now from a former WWE writer. This is actually from Sportskeeda, that had said that the reason that Jay was, swiftly removed from being world champion is that he didn't carry himself like a champion, and Gunther did. Now, take that for what it's worth. It did come from Sportskeeda, so it's not just some random site trying to get clicks. But if WWE truly believed that Jey Uso didn't carry himself like a champion and Gunther did, then why are we putting the belt on Jay to begin with? I mean, the thing is, you don't need to put a championship on somebody to know whether or not they feel like a champion, because they should feel like a champion before they actually hold it. If you ever have to question yourself as to, is the belt going to make the guy or the guy going to make the belt? You have your answer. That's the problem with Jay. And that's been the problem that I have been saying since he won the Rumble back in, well, actually, was it February this year? And that it just didn't feel right. Not that Jay's not over. He's got a fun gimmick. He's very over the top and flamboyant, and I get it. And he's a likable enough guy, and he certainly has paid his dues in the company. But there's something that he's just been missing, and I think it was also exacerbated by that flub of a promo he had with Gunther that probably put them over the top. I don't think that was the primary cause, but it added to their evidence to remove the championship from him with that bad promo that Gunther was feeding him his lines, and he's talking about, he's fighting for us, and he's, talking just mumbo jumbo, and he's missing his lines. And again, happens. It's tough. Not an easy business. I'll continue to say that and defend Jay. But also, as world champion, you should feel like a champion. And I think they have felt that they've gotten enough of a sample size to take it off of Jay and put it back on Gunther, because you know what you're going to get with Gunther. And having Gunther to win the way he did, with the same way Jay did, except no tap out, to protect Jay because he's a babyface. I thought it was the right, if you're going to have Gunther win, the right way. They're trying to rebuild Gunther. I think that this is an admission of their mistake to put the belt on Jay. They won't say that. You ask Triple H, you know what response you're going to get these days. It's, you enjoy the show? Thanks for the question. What a great question. I love this question. Shut up. It's an admission of, yeah, we screwed up. We're pivoting. That's exactly what this is. There's no other way to read this. There is no other way to read Jey Uso dropping the championship last night than WWE admitting, without admitting it, we screwed up and we're changing course. That's it. There's no other way to interpret this. Why? Not that Triple H is against short reigns, but we've seen throughout his tenure since Vince left that he's generally been of the belief that title reigns should be long, or certainly longer than the Vince McMahon era title reigns that sometimes were a month, 2 months, 3 months, 6 months was impossible, right? So Triple H generally does not like short title reigns. We've seen that thus far. And the most damning evidence, if you're WWE and you're trying not to admit that you've made a mistake and you're just changing course because it's not working, you put a championship on somebody that's never held a top championship at WrestleMania. I cannot think of another time that somebody who is climbing the mountain that has not won a world title, winning it at WrestleMania and dropping it this quickly. 2 months later, 50-some days. I cannot think of another example. I have always said even SummerSlam is sometimes pushing it. It's the first real time you can think of maybe the champions who have won at WrestleMania or retained to look at and circle the date and say, hey, this is the possible first time that they could drop the belt. But they even did that 2 months beforehand now. This is a crazy change of course here. And again, I haven't given you my thoughts yet on whether I think it's good or bad. I'm just giving you what I'm seeing based on the change itself. What this means as a company. An admission of we done effed up. But here's the thing. I really, in defense of Jay, and you guys know I've been of the belief that I think Jay should not have been champion in the first place and Gunther should have retained at WrestleMania. I do believe that. I still believe that, despite what I've seen. The crowd has been behind Jay. The crowd's been behind Jay. It seems to be that management, the uppers, don't like Jay. Because if we're told all the time that the fans are the ones holding the keys, the fans are the ones who decide who holds the belt, who doesn't, it's on their shoulders. It's based on the reaction you get from fans. Well, the fans haven't been dropping support with Jay. In fact, they've been pretty steadfast with Jay every step of the way. There's been no booing, no silence. Jay has been over the yeet, all of it. It has all been behind Jay. There's been no downside, and even his matches have been exactly what you'd expect. The 67 super kicks and all the rest that come with a Jey Uso match. You know what you're getting there. His match quality is fine. I wouldn't say it's outstanding. I would say it's fine. It's enough, I think, to have someone as champion to wrestle the way Jay does. I have nothing against his style other than the insane overuse of super kicks, but that's a larger issue. So when you look at it, you just zoom out. You're like, okay, he has the crowd support. The crowd was generally behind him. Even somebody like myself who doesn't love Jey Uso understands it. And he's got the crowd support to back it up. And if that's the thing that can push you over the finish line, despite what management thinks, then that's usually good enough. But in this case, management's overriding a lot of what the fans wanted, a lot of what the fans reacted to with Jay. And they're saying, no. No, hold on. You think you know what you want here. We know what you want. You don't know what you want. We know what you want. Or they felt that, hey, the fans are cheering for him because he's got this yeet thing. It's a gimmick. It needs to be deeper than that. He doesn't feel like a real champion. And I've said he doesn't feel like a real champion. Not to disrespect him, just to call a spade a spade. He has not felt like a real champion since he won the belt. Period. He hasn't. He hasn't been an embarrassment. It hasn't been an outrage. It's just felt out of place for Jay. As if his character's not quite there, despite all of his assets, all of his accomplishments. He still doesn't feel like he's there. And the company clearly felt the same way too. Instead of letting it ride maybe to even SummerSlam, they cut it as short as I've ever seen any WrestleMania title change get cut. It's pretty crazy. Now, is this the right move? I think it is. Nothing against Jay, but I think it's the right move. Gunther feels like a champion. Even without a belt, you still just assume he's champion of something. I think that what they need to do is, now that they put the belt back on Gunther, I hope the plan isn't to have him drop it to someone at SummerSlam. Now that you've tried to correct course and go back to Gunther, number one, it tells you that they feel like they shouldn't have had Jay do what he did at WrestleMania by having Gunther tap. Terrible decision. I think that was an admission last night. And also having Jay lose on Raw, not even a PLE. So what they need to do is put Gunther back on the map. Not that he's fallen off, but put him back at least the best you can to try to put the genie back in the bottle and have him be a killer where he goes on this streak. He starts dominating matches. He's found this new aggression. He's got this new source of power that's just nobody can seem to overcome. They need to get back to Gunther being Gunther. I don't want this wishy-washy, he's scared of Damian Priest, he taps out to Jey Uso in a chokehold. No. They need to never allow us to see those moments again with Gunther and get back to basics of what made him special. And that is dominance. He's a bad guy that can actually outright beat the good guy without cheating, without any interference, without any foreign objects, without the referee's back being turned, without a low blow. He's a guy that can actually just outright beat the good guy. Those are rare, but it's possible, and it should be used more often than it is today. And Gunther is a believable guy to fit that role. So I think that's what they need to get back to doing with him. They need to get back to having him just be that guy. Be the guy that felt unbeatable at one point before really Sami Zayn beat him at WrestleMania 40 last year. So, and also they need to stop having Gunther lose at WrestleMania. I keep saying this because Gunther is not at the end of his career. He's not a veteran at the end of his career with a bad injury. He's not. He's still barely in his prime. He's not a guy that should be giving back to the business yet in the sense of losing to younger baby faces. He's not there yet. He's not in a John Cena role. He's still relatively young. He can put on 5-star matches. We've seen it. We've seen him do it with Gable. Again, depends on your definition of 5-star. But Gable, Sheamus, we've seen it. So we need just a wrestling purist badass. So there's my open for nearly 15 minutes talking about Gunther and Jay. But the match was fine. But again, it's not even really about the quality of the match here. No one's talking about the quality of the match here. No one's doing a play-by-play in the match. It is about the decision. It's about what is WWE doing? Where are they going? Was this the right decision? And I just gave you my thoughts on that. Let me know what you guys think. Do you think it was the right decision of having Jay drop the belt this quick after WrestleMania? Really an unprecedented move. I'm not trying to be over dramatic, but maybe somebody out there who's a smarter person than I am can figure this out. Has there been somebody who has been chasing the belt up till WrestleMania, they have the blow off, and the first time they win it, not 5th, 6th, 7th, I'm talking the first time that they've won it, having them drop it so soon after WrestleMania? barring any kind of injury. Again, I'm not talking about somebody who's injured. I'm talking about just purely storyline change. Pivot. Has it ever happened? I don't think so. Not to my knowledge. WrestleMania to SummerSlam is usually the shortest increment of time that I can think of in which the person who won it at WrestleMania is in any kind of jeopardy for the first time of dropping it. So let me know what you guys think. Quite an interesting decision by WWE last night on Raw. All right. So let's start at the beginning here. I know we have Nikki Bella to talk about. I could care less. I'm in Liv Morgan's corner all the way, and we'll get to that. But John Cena comes out, and John Cena called the fans keyboard warriors. He mocked them for thinking they have an influence. And he barked that this is his retirement tour, counted down the remaining dates of 19. And Cena said that from R-Truth to Cody Rhodes to Randy Orton, he has shut the mouths of the fans and beaten their best. And that's when CM Punk comes out. But before we get to Punk, well, yeah, saying that our words don't matter, thinking they have influence. Well, I mean, I don't know if this is just him being his heel character or WWE speaking through him. Actually, no, truth is here. Ron Killings is here directly and solely because of the fans, not because WWE had any intention of bringing him back. So, no, actually, fans have a ton of influence. Also, we may have had a little bit of a hand in changing the main event of WrestleMania 40. Remember that whole thing? I don't know. Maybe WWE is a little bit too short-minded here. Their memories lapsed a bit, but there might have been something going on there where, remind me again, I can't remember, some hashtag and I don't know his name. So something rings a bell at WrestleMania 40 where the fans actually changed the entire main event of WrestleMania 40. Yeah. So anyway, but then they'll tell us in the same breath that we should just shut up and enjoy the product, yet we also have the power to change the main event of WrestleMania. Kind of interesting. And let me just say this, okay? Because I hammer Triple H, and rightfully so. I take nothing back for what I said about Triple H with his just double speak and his really disrespect to fans of, he's in a weird place where he's trying to defend the company, but also not give fans too much credit and enable them to start chanting names of people they fired and thinking they're going to bring them back and set a precedent. I get it. But, I understand it. But Triple H, he has been really speaking out of both sides of his mouth, where he's like, yeah, shut up and enjoy the product. But also, I think he's saying shut up and enjoy the product because if you guys create any sort of movement, we'll have the unfortunate task of trying to pivot when we had this great story laid out and now you guys think you know better and now we have to change. I mean, he's probably so frustrated with the fans at this point. It's kind of a secret war, yet we're all on the same page of trying to create a great product. It's interesting. But what my point is, what I was going to say, WWE, I don't care who it is. I don't care if it's the president of TKO. I don't care if every board of director member stands up and gives a 20-minute speech about how real wrestling fans aren't complaining on Twitter and we don't listen to the negativity or the keyboard warriors aren't real fans and we don't listen. We don't pay attention to the garbage online. Nonsense. Sure you do. If you told me you didn't care about social media, then why do you constantly tout how many followers you have, how many views this had, or how many millions of views that this particular video broke records of? Of course they care about social media. Of course they do, but they're trying not to enable fans to be able to really light a flame for people to complain, right? They don't want to start the fire. They don't want to start the fire of fans being able to go online and just voice their opinions and start complaining, and then WWE has no choice but to react. Social media is, of course, they have teams dedicated to posting on social media. They post about every 15 minutes about something. You don't think there's a team that reports back to TKO about trends and hashtags that are, trending and just general criticism that's being brought up by by fans to the company? Of course there is. Of course. Now, do they take action on everything that the fans criticize? Of course they don't, and I wouldn't either. But when fans speak in numbers, that's when they get scared. They get scared because there is power in numbers. We proved it with the ultimate test of changing the main event of the biggest PLE of their entire year. And it turned out to be the right choice. Why? It was one of the best WrestleMania main events. At least a lot of people said that. I don't think it was, but a lot of people agreed that it was one of the best finishes to a WrestleMania main event ever. So it turns out, hey, I guess we were right on that one. When I say we, the fans, I don't mean me, because I wasn't in the "We Want Cody" hashtag family. I wasn't there, and I have no regrets. But my point is, they're trying to downplay social media and the negativity that some people put out there, the criticism that some people put out there, because they know that if it catches on, they're going to be forced to take action. So, anyway, just shut up and enjoy the product. Don't you criticize us. Just shut up and you're gonna like everything we give you. All right, so CM Punk comes out and he said that he wants John Cena to be comfortable because he has a lot of things to get off his chest. That's a callback, by the way, to his promo, the pipe bomb promo against John Cena. If you remember, in the pipe bomb promo, he said he hopes John Cena is as uncomfortable as he can be because he's a lot of things he wants to get off his chest. Obviously, a callback to the pipe bomb promo in Vegas, how many years ago? 14 years ago, whatever it was. Crazy, right? Crazy how we're still here. We're still having John Cena and CM Punk cut promos from 2011. We're here. It's crazy. So he said he's not defending the establishment. He's not standing for TKO or defending the billionaires. He said he's defending the people. He asked Cena if he's mad because the establishment picked Cena, but the fans never did, which is actually, that's not true. I mean, the fans generally were solidly behind John Cena. He has had moments of negativity. His match against Triple H, I think it was at WrestleMania 22. He got booed out of the building. The infamous one-night stand against Rob Van Dam in 06. That was just, I mean, it was a complete blowout for John Cena. Even his victory at New Year's Revolution 2006, which I was in attendance for, he got booed out of the building, and then Edge got cheered when he won the Money in the Bank, or cashed in Money in the Bank and beat John Cena for the championship. So, that is just not true. I mean, outside of just some of these singular events, there's been a general pretty damn solid support for John Cena. So, anyway, Punk said that he wasn't there to kiss the final boss's ass like Cena. And Punk said the people are his boss, and Cena held up the belt. Punk said it's his job to give the people what they want, and if they want the truth, I'm going to give them wrong killings. And Punk recalled Cena apologizing to him when he choked him out during the Chamber. And Punk said that when he takes the title off Cena, he'll spend the days apologizing for the man he's become. He said the belt corrupted him, and Punk said he knows that because the belt turned him into a monster in 2012, and said he's afraid of the man he becomes when he has the belt, but says he now knows he has to become a monster to stop the monster. And he said that Cena has 18 dates left after tonight. He said he would leave it up to the fans or Cena to decide where that or when he takes the title off his shoulder. He suggested tonight. And then, of course, John Cena is not going to say yes. He teased it. But how are the fans still falling for this? I mean, it's been decades upon decades upon decades. When is the last time a heel, in terms of defending their championship, gave the fans what they want? When has that happened the last time? When is the last time, especially a marquee match of this caliber? Are people in the arena that delusional? The only chance you have of something like that happening on the fly is if you are in a top tier market. You're in a top tier arena, like you're in Madison Square Garden. That's probably one of the only few places that it's even remotely possible that a match like that would happen on the fly, unadvertised. And even then, there's not a good chance. But the fans still buy in hook, line, and sinker. How are the fans still doing this? I don't know. Is it just, do they think they have some kind of ability over booking and over the guys in the ring to have them change their mind that, yeah, we weren't going to do it, but boy, they really want it. So I guess we'll do it. Gosh darn. No, but I don't get it. I don't get it. I mean, if I'm in the arena, I wouldn't cheer or boo. I would just sit there and I go, yeah, hey, look, yeah, I know we'll get teased with it. It's not going to happen. How are the fans even reacting to this in disappointment? Is this your first time at a wrestling event? Okay. Sorry, Phoenix. I'm not picking on you specifically, but you are the latest example of just, I don't understand how people are still falling for this. However, we then have Seth Rollins come out. He didn't say anything, and he just held up his briefcase as like, hey, don't forget, guys, I'm still here. So let me add a graphic for the King of the Ring. Fatal four-way matches for King of the Ring, I should say. The winner of tonight's Sammy versus Penta versus Braun Breaker versus Dom will face the winner of Randy Orton versus LA Knight versus Aleister Black versus Carmelo Hayes in the semifinals. And the other side of the bracket has Cody, Damian, Andrade, and Shinsuke facing the winner of Sheamus, Rusev, Bronson, and a mystery final entrant. So that's good. I mean, they're continuing with King of the Ring. That's a positive. If you are, if you've put stock in the King of the Ring winner, which I honestly don't, but it's just, I guess they want to make it an annual tradition. Fine. Yeah. But really, if there's nothing on the line of like, hey, you get a future title opportunity at a date and time to be disclosed, I'd be cool with that. It's not like Money in the Bank where you can cash it in, but it just kind of, it's money in the bank in a different sense. It's insurance, right? It's just saying, hey, yes, this is securing you a title opportunity over the next 12 months at a date and time to be disclosed. But you can't cash it in whenever you want. I mean, that's what they should say. It just give you some kind of prize. Something. I know it's similar to Money in the Bank, but it's not because you can't call your shot. It's management who will decide, I guess, powers that be, when you get your shot at a championship. And maybe they just say a championship, not top championship. Keep it really open. But give the winners some kind of prize other than, playing dress up with a crown and a scepter, like a real tangible prize. Did they do that last year? Because I was complaining about it. I feel like, no, maybe they didn't. But if they don't have a prize, there should be one. All right. So Punk and Cena is happening at Saudi Arabia at Night of Champions. That's where we're going. And yeah, so Saudi Arabia gets CM Punk and John Cena. Take that for what you will. Mm-hmm. Okay, AJ Styles versus Chad Gable. Julius Creed, Brutus Creed, also there. Styles caught Gable the dropkick to open the match. And the finish was Gable putting Styles in the ankle lock. Styles rolled out of the hold just like everyone else does, because they just do. And Styles hit a quick Styles clash and got the victory after the match. Barrett dubbed the Speedy Styles clash as a flash clash. Nah. No, thanks. I'm sorry. Good try, Barrett. Good try. But I'm not on board for that. So, AJ Styles and Chad Gable. I will say I wish it was a little more competitive on Chad Gable's side. Remember the guy that nearly beat Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship a couple of years ago in that awesome series of matches that I hope at some point they get back to? Remember that guy? He's getting beat pretty handily now. AJ Styles is certainly a big star in the business, but I just would like Chad Gable to be a little bit more competitive. Book him a little more competitively. The guy is just so much fun to watch. Okay. We then have Liv Morgan warming up in Gorilla for her match when Roxanne Perez showed up, tried to talk to her, and she was pretty dismissive. She said she'd beat Perez, win the tournament, and take back her championship, and there's just more tension being built. So then we got Rhea Ripley versus Liv Morgan versus Kairi Sane versus Roxanne Perez in a 4-way Queen of the Ring match. And this match went nearly 13 minutes with having Roxanne Perez win, beating Kyrie, Ripley, and Liv to advance, which is really not a surprise. Again, these matches, this tournament is not meant typically for people that are already established stars. It's kind of a consolation prize, again, with no actual tangible prize, with WWE kind of giving you a bit of a clue as to who they're going to try to, maybe focus on over the next several months. It's kind of WWE's way of giving somebody a prize without something that is, that WWE's locked into, like, oh crap, we made him champion or her champion and we probably shouldn't have. It's more of just a signal of, hey, we've got our eye on this person. It's also another prize, like Money in the Bank, that is very much heel heavy, because it's a prize that a heel can gloat about, while babyfaces shouldn't really sit and pretend to be kings and queens for months. It rarely works outside of King Booker, right, and Queen Sharmell, which was, that's a once in a lifetime adaptation. That just was a perfect evolution for King Booker T's character. But most of the time, it doesn't work. They adopt a fake British accent. They call everybody subjects. They carry a scepter. They're suddenly drunk with power when they have absolutely no power. There's nothing there. It's just, it doesn't work. Look at Zelina Vega. Remember what she did? She won, and that really didn't do anything but hurt her character. Granted, she's champion now, but still, at the time, it doesn't usually work, and it's meant for heels to win. So I wouldn't be surprised to see a heel win both of these tournaments. Rhea Ripley, you think Rhea Ripley would gain anything from being Queen of the Ring? No. These are meant for stars that are not yet at the top of the game. So this match was fine, by the way. Late in the match, Ripley hit Riptide on Morgan, but Raquel showed up, pulled Ripley out of the ring. And then Ripley and Rodriguez fought at ringside until Kyrie dove onto them, which slammed them to the floor. So, again, the match was okay. I will say that the finish was not great, with Ripley and Rodriguez fighting at ringside with some of the worst punches I've ever seen anyone throw at all in a professional wrestling ring at Ripley's level. Ripley, just watch it in real time. I'm sorry, but I'm calling it like it is. Like, I'm only saying it because it was that bad. And then having the two, like, they were throwing the most slow motion punches, phony punches that I've ever seen. Maybe even worse than Braun Breaker and his punches that he gave. Who was it? Was it Jey Uso? Or Cody. Was it Cody a couple of weeks ago when he first joined Seth's group? Some of those punches were horrible. These were just as bad, or if not worse, by Ripley. And even Raquel didn't reciprocate well. And then they're both standing there just watching, looking up at Kyrie, waiting for her to jump. Sorry, it was horrible. That spot was just bad. The match was eh. But I'm going to put the negativity aside and say that I think it's good for Roxanne Perez, who continues to use the Judgment Day to build her platform, give herself a personality. She's got a little spat going on with Liv, and Dom's in the middle of things. Is he going to do what he did to Ripley and then do it to Liv? Is he going to have a history repeats itself kind of moment? Once a cheater, always a cheater, that kind of thing. Very possible. It's very possible. I'll get to Liv in a moment, but okay. So we have then a Worlds Collide video package aired, and see, WWE boasting 4.1 million YouTube views, but they don't care about social media. They'll tell you. So we then have, let's see, Nikki Bella video air, and Nikki greeted Maxine Dupree and Natalya, and that's when Becky Lynch comes out, and again, Nikki's backstage, but Becky comes out and said the title belt became her biggest prize in wrestling because she holds it, and she said she should have spent the weekend celebrating with her husband and daughter, but Lyra ruined everything. And Lynch demanded that Valkyria come out and apologize. So Lyra comes out. But Bayley, yes, Bayley, I didn't misspeak, comes in the ring, hits Lynch from behind, gets a couple of shots in. And then Becky avoided Bayley's finish, hopped to the barricade, made her exit. So Bayley, yes, Bayley, and Becky Lynch are on a collision course. Now, they'll probably throw Lyra in there for good measure because you have to keep on her momentum, which she does have some. I mean, Lyra's really made strides over the last several months, and they got to keep her in the picture here. Not that I want her to capture the belt back, but to continue to just get airtime and be in big matches and have her work with talent like Becky and now like Bayley. So I think it'll be a triple threat for the Women's Intercontinental Championship at Night of Champions. That's my guess. Probably a slam dunk, I would say, on that one. So R-Truth, yes, R-Truth, hopped onto the broadcast table and told the fans not to let anyone say their voices don't matter. I'm back because of y'all. And Truth added that the fans didn't just bring Truth back. They have him. We all love R-Truth, he said. I love R-Truth too. R-Truth can be too funny all the time. R-Truth can be too nice and he's too forgiving. Not me. I wish you would. I feel different. I feel alive. And for any of you that thinks I'm a liar and you think I'm a sideshow act, you think I'm a gimmick, he put the mic down, took a pair of scissors, and cut off his braids. The fans chanted with a holy S chant. I think the first time I've ever heard the fans chant holy S for a haircut. That's a first. But R-Truth, the truth has set me free, he said. I am Ron Killings. I am the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. Now put some respect in my name. And he exited via the crowd. So I'm split on this. Number one, I think R-Truth, Ron Killings, being back is a net positive. I mean, there's no way to look at this other than just it's great to have Ron Killings back, the man. It's great. And the R-Truth character is a beloved character that will definitely go into the Hall of Fame. Definitely. Okay. But the question becomes, R-Truth is what the fans loved. That's what the fans fell in love with, was this character. Now that they're bringing Ron Killings to the table here, is that a good choice to change up? Like, R-Truth is what brought you to the dance. It got you to the dance. Now you're going to change up what got you to the dance by being Ron Killings. It's a gamble. It's a gamble because the fans love R-Truth and what R-Truth is and his jokes and his humor and his kind of, the very forgiving attitude. And R-Truth, Ron Killings admitted that, like, hey, my character is kind of too loosey-goosey, too easygoing. It's time for an edge. So I wonder how the fans are going to react to Ron Killings now that essentially R-Truth has been killed dead. I don't know. I hope there's a plan here. I hope for Ron Killings, there's a plan for Ron Killings and not just, hey, I cut off the braids. Pretty extreme, huh? So what are we doing with you? I don't know. We'll figure it out, kid. I hope that's not the plan. And now, I do believe, now that we have R-Truth back, or Ron Killings, we'll see how they address him, or how does he want to be called Ron Killings? Does he want to be called R-Truth? I don't know yet. We'll learn in the coming weeks. But now that we have him back, let's make him champion. And I'm being serious. Have Ron Killings get his moment. Even if it's a extremely short run. The fans would love it. Ron Killings would love it legitimately. He's deserving of it. I'm not saying he'll be the face of the company. He's certainly not the youngest guy on the roster. He's got the organic support it's one of the most invaluable things you can have as a wrestler, is that just organic connection that happens. And you can't explain why, but it's just there. like Daniel Bryan, like R-Truth. There's just that connection that you have that it supersedes anything going on in story. It just it exists. And R-Truth has that. Ron Killings has that. So I hope that they don't misstep here and stub their toe and try something with Ron Killings that really may damage what they had with R-Truth. I'm rooting for him. I truly am. And I really would. I'm guessing his contract is probably a year. That's my guess. It's probably not exactly a long-term multi-year deal. I don't think it is. It wouldn't, I think it's probably a 1 year and then they'll reevaluate. But my guess is that with that 1 year deal, they hopefully have some plans in there to maybe make him champion for a short period. Let him and the fans have that moment. I don't care if it's a week, a month. It just needs to happen. So then we have, let's see here, some backstage stuff with Liv and Raquel backstage. Seth Rollins speaking to Braun Breaker and Bronson Reed inside their dressing room while Paul Heyman stood by. Rollins was firing up Breaker. Dom and Sammy and Braun and Penta had a fatal four-way for the King of the Ring match. This match went 17 minutes with Sami Zayn winning here against Dom, Braun, and Penta in a fatal four-way. Kind of surprising here. I figured Penta would be the one to advance, but Sammy was the one too, and hey, he can have a good match with anybody. And the finish here, though, was LA Knight appearing at ringside and hitting Breaker with a BFT. In the ring, Zayn hit Dom with an exploder suplex and a haluva kick and got the 3 count. So LA Knight running interference. At least he pretended he shouldn't have been at the show. It's awesome seeing LA Knight on Raw. As I've said forever, he feels more right on Raw. But at least he pretended he wasn't supposed to be there. Where he made a quick run in, hit his finish, and ran over the barricade. That's how, if you're pretending you have a brand split, you do it. That's how you do it. Instead of just standing in the ring leisurely while all the production team and camera guys, everybody just, security, everyone just, pretends it's normal. You're supposed to be there. It's fine. This is how you do it. A quick run in. They even should have had security chase him, right? But fine, I'll deal with it. I liked how they did this. And LA Knight being on Raw was certainly a surprise. And having him hit Breaker with the BFT was also a fun program they got going on there. But LA Knight, despite the fact that he continues to get good crowd support, I really thought that the loss at Money in the Bank could be the nail in his coffin in terms of the ceiling of his career, where fans believe he could go. Not that he's going to fall off and the crowd's going to stop reacting to him and that he's going to be fired. No, I just think that cemented what WWE sees him as in terms of the ceiling of how high he can go. It seems cemented, but I hope I'm wrong. But at least for the time being, for the foreseeable future, it kind of told us, yeah, okay, fine. Yeah, he's not going to be champion. He's just going to muddle around the United States title picture, maybe make a change to Raw and then chase the Intercontinental title. But so we then have, let's see, the Nikki Bella segment here. She comes out in the third hour. She talked about WWE Evolution, and she recalled the first Evolution and spoke about the female stars who have come along since then. And she said that she and the women from the past couldn't be prouder of today's female wrestlers. Yeah, okay. Well, they don't need that because, sorry, you guys did precisely nothing to set the table. Sorry, Nikki, your stripper dance to coming down the ramp didn't exactly spark the women's revolution. Sorry to say, we don't need your applause. And I say we, speaking on behalf of the women. I'm sure they need me to speak on behalf of them, right? But yeah, I don't know. Can you tell I'm not a Nikki fan? Can you tell? I mean, and don't you also wonder what the potential tension was backstage between Nikki and John Cena. Did they cross each other in the hallway? I mean, I'm sure they were cordial if they saw each other, but you can't tell me with the relationship that they had. But, seeing each other backstage, which I'm sure they did, that they're still not kind of like, oh, this is weird. Nikki and John Cena backstage for the first time. I don't even know the last time John Cena and Nikki Bella was backstage. Would have been a fly on the wall for that one. But Liv Morgan comes out, threw a tantrum about not being listed among the biggest female stars. And she came to the ring and said Nikki was lucky that she wasn't around during her era because she would have beaten her for the title. And Morgan said Nikki didn't mention her because she's jealous and that she has everything Nikki doesn't have: respect, championship, and a man. Nikki said she's trying to figure out whether Morgan's man belongs to Liv or Roxanne. And Nikki told Morgan to congratulate Perez for taking her title shot and her man. And she started to leave. Morgan said that she is a champion, and all Nikki will ever be is a reality show diva. Well, I mean, again, Liv is not wrong. Nikki climbed through the ropes to return to the ring, and then Morgan hit Nikki with Oblivion. Crowd didn't really boo this. Crowd didn't boo it. I don't know why Nikki's back. Is she back just to be part of the Evolution pay-per-view? I guess. But no, there was no organic uprising for Nikki Bella. There's no movement for Nikki. The only one excited about Nikki coming back was Nikki. I mean, there's just the Bella twins are delusion. They have this delusion, this fantasy that fans are always asking them, when are you coming back? Are you going to have another match? Oh my God, please come back. # we want Nikki. They actually think that there's fans in mass. I know, again, I'm sure there are rogue fans that actually like the Bellas and feel they were great and are great in the ring. I'm sure there are, because there are fans for everything, no matter how crazy. But I feel like either they are purposely lying to themselves and hoping you don't notice, or they actually believe that there are droves of fans just waiting with bated breath for the day that Nikki Bella comes back or Brie Bella comes back and has a match and shows up and makes an appearance. Once the Bellas left, they just got erased from our brains. That's it. I don't remember anybody going, oh my God, where are they? Please come back. Let's start a movement. Let's start a petition. No one. Everyone's like, oh, okay, see ya. And since then, they have been at the outer reaches of our wrestling memories. And now, Nikki, who's just, again, trying to pretend that people want to see her, she is a nostalgic act. And that's fine. She is one of the faces of the Divas era, but here's the problem with that. You are one of the faces of the Divas era. You are one of the biggest quote-unquote stars of the Divas era. But no one wants to remember the Divas era because it wasn't women's wrestling. It was a holdover of the Attitude Era. It was essentially the same thing, it's the same way WWE treated the women during the Attitude Era, minus the sex. Meaning, they shoved it aside. There were never any deep storylines going on. Very little TV time. And there was a butterfly on your championship belt. There were no women's Royal Rumbles. There was no women's ladder match. There were never any Hell in a Cells. They never main evented any pay-per-views. They barely got any TV time. And the TV time they did was 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 4 minutes tops. There were no women's tag team titles, which is actually probably for the best, but no women's Intercontinental, no women's United States Championship. They didn't have their own pay-per-view. So no, you're the face of an era no one wants to remember, Nikki. That's the problem. That's the problem. Not that you can't actually have a fundamentally sound match. You can. But you bring back an era that people fought so hard to get away from. Your face embodied an era that caused the fans to themselves start a we want or give divas a chance hashtag that spark the entire women's revolution. You are the face of things of a time that we want to get away from, Nikki. Can I be any clearer? Yeah. All right. So, we get Jey Uso and Gunther, as I said, for the World Heavyweight Championship. This match did go 22 minutes. Wow, that was that long, I guess. And, so I already went over that. I'm not going to go over it again. As far as Gunther winning the World Championship for a second time, I agree with the decision, as I've said, so I won't go into too much more detail other than that. But I guess I'll end there. And I hope you guys enjoyed the show. I'll be back. When do I come back? I'll be back on Friday for your mailbag. So send in your emails to mailbag@wwepodcast.com. And if you're a patron, I will answer your emails up front. Just let me know you're a patron in the subject of the email. So mailbag@wwepodcast.com. That's where you can go. And if you want to go to Patreon also for your ad-free stuff, or Apple Podcasts also offers an ad-free experience. So check us out there. All right, everybody, that'll do it. If you like the show, give us a 5-star rating. If you don't, give us a 5-star rating. And if you hate the show, you can also give us a 5-star rating. Thanks, everybody. Talk to you next time.
Thanks for listening to the WWE Podcast. Don't forget to subscribe on your favorite podcast app so you don't miss a show, or head to wwepodcast.com. And for all of these shows ad-free, head over to patreon.com/WWE Podcast. Until then, we'll see you next time.